Hi everyone, welcome back. Thanks for joining us again today. We've got a new story that's going to hit deep, about love, betrayal, and the quiet strength it takes to walk away. My name is Nathan Reed, and if you had asked me a year ago whether I trusted the woman I was going to marry, I would have told you, without hesitation, that I'd bet my life on her loyalty. I was that sure of her. But just 2 months before our wedding, I uncovered a truth that shattered everything I believed about us. I met Sienna Monroe during one of my early morning jogs. It was one of those cool spring mornings where the sky looks like it's still waking up. The trail I used wasn't crowded, but if you stuck to a schedule long enough, you started recognizing familiar faces. She was one of those. At first, it was just the polite nod you give a fellow runner. Then one day she broke the routine. I had just slowed near a water fountain when I heard her voice. Light, curious. "Hey, are those shoes good for long runs?" she asked, pointing to my sneakers with a smile. I was caught off guard but answered her. What started as a quick comment turned into a 15-minute conversation. She told me she lived just a few blocks from where I stayed. We laughed over how we'd probably shopped in the same grocery store without realizing it. By the time we were about to part, it felt natural to exchange numbers. No expectations. Just connection. That simple moment grew into something neither of us could have predicted. In the beginning, everything stayed casual. We'd text now and then. Friendly conversations. I wasn't dating anyone at the time, but I also wasn't looking. And while she never said it directly, it was clear Sienna was in a relationship. She'd say things like, "We went to the lake last weekend," or post photos online with someone beside her. A guy whose face never needed a name. I respected that. I respected her. So I made sure to keep boundaries in place. I didn't want to get emotionally involved with someone who was already taken. For a long time that worked. We were just two people who happened to get along. But then she stopped posting. At first I didn't think much of it. Everyone needs digital breaks now and then. But when she finally came back online, her whole energy had shifted. Gone were the pictures of her with the guy. In their place were cryptic healing quotes. The kind you post when you're trying to convince yourself that you're over something. That's when I sensed something had changed. I didn't ask. It wasn't my place. But one day she posted something that struck a deeper nerve. A quote I can't even remember now, but it had that raw, vulnerable edge. Without thinking, I messaged her. "Hey, you doing okay?" She responded quickly. Said she was fine. I asked why she'd gone quiet. Her response: "Let's talk when we see each other." That surprised me. We'd never made plans to hang out outside the trail. I asked her half-jokingly, "Where are we meeting?" She named a nearby cafe. So we did. That evening changed everything. The cafe was quiet, almost like it knew something meaningful was about to happen. After some small talk, she opened up, told me she and her boyfriend had split. Her words were calm, but her eyes betrayed the ache still clinging to her. She didn't go into details. I didn't ask. Just listened. From that night on, we weren't just running into each other anymore. We were meeting on purpose. First for coffee, then walks, then dinners, then quiet evenings at each other's places. Nothing dramatic. Just two people slowly orbiting closer. I was careful. I didn't want to be the rebound. But the more time we spent together, the harder it was to ignore what was building between us. We didn't even need to say anything outright. It was the way she looked at me a second too long. The way our hands brushed when passing a cup of coffee. The laughter that lingered. One night, while waiting on takeout in my apartment, she suddenly asked, "Why don't you have a girlfriend?" I laughed and said, "I do." She looked puzzled. "Really? Who?" I leaned back and said, "You see her every day." She paused, smirked and said, "So I'm your girlfriend and I didn't even know it?" We both laughed, but in that moment something quietly shifted. After that, she started leaning in closer. Her touches lingered longer, her eyes softer. Not long after, I officially asked her to be my girlfriend. She said yes, and from there everything moved with a rhythm that felt right. A year passed. We moved in together. Found a cozy house. I paid the rent, she helped with bills. We met each other's families. Hers during Thanksgiving, mine at Christmas. She blended right into my world like she'd always been there. By our second year we were talking marriage. Kids. Shared future. So I proposed. Decorated the house with the help of friends. Rose petals, candles, a banner. "Will you marry me?" She walked in. Yes. I slid the ring on her finger, thinking I had just sealed a lifelong promise. What I didn't know was that I just proposed to someone who was hiding a truth I never saw coming. After the engagement, Sienna threw herself into wedding planning. Magazines, Pinterest boards, endless phone calls. My role was to fund it, and I did willingly. I wanted to give her the day of her dreams. Then one evening, she stepped outside to walk a friend to her car. Her phone rang on the couch. It wasn't my habit to check it, but something made me glance. The number wasn't saved. The call dropped as I answered. Curious, I unlocked her phone. I'd seen the passcode many times. When the screen opened, I went straight to the messages. And that's when my world split. There were texts. Not from just anyone but from him. It was clear she had deleted her replies, but his messages told me enough. He wrote things like, "I know we can't keep seeing each other now that you're engaged. I still remember the last time we met. I'll always think we're meant to be." My stomach turned. She hadn't just kept in touch with him, she had been seeing him. Even while wedding plans were in motion. Even while wearing my ring. I took screenshots of everything. Every word. Every message. Then I put the phone down and walked out. I sat in my car for hours, trying to understand how someone I loved so completely could betray me so deeply. This wasn't a mistake. This was a series of calculated, secretive meetings with someone she told me had once broken her heart. Over the next few days I couldn't sleep. I'd lie beside her wondering how she could fake it so well. Smiling. Laughing. Planning our forever while hiding her deceit. Eventually I couldn't hold it in. So I wrote her a letter. I told her I knew. Told her I had seen the messages. Told her the wedding was off. I asked her to take her things and be gone before I got home. I made it clear. If she didn't leave quietly, I'd start making calls. Her family. Our mutual friends. Everyone. I left the letter beside her favorite mug on the kitchen counter and walked out the door. The fallout was instant. Calls, texts, voicemails. "It's not what you think. I can explain. You have it all wrong." But I didn't respond. Because I didn't have it wrong. I had proof. I booked a hotel and turned off my phone. The next day, I returned home and found she hadn't left. She tried to plead her case. Said it was emotional confusion, a one-time thing, unfinished closure. But I didn't care anymore. She had choices. And she made them behind my back. I told her to leave. She packed her things and went back to her parents' place. Afterwards, people started calling. Her family. Our mutual friends. Some said she made a mistake. Others asked me to be the bigger person. But here's the thing. This wasn't a slip. It was intentional. It was repeated. And it was hidden. If I hadn't picked up that call, I'd still be planning a wedding with a woman whose heart wasn't fully mine. So no, I didn't owe her another chance. I didn't owe anyone an explanation. I owed myself peace. And even now it still hurts. I'd be lying if I said it didn't. But pain doesn't mean regret. I'm proud I walked away. Because once someone shows you who they really are, it's not your job to repaint them into someone you wish they were. It's your job to protect your own future. Thanks for listening.